And welcome back to the second part of Looted Empire Shield. This time I've plugged my iPad back in so it's charging, and we've just gone back just to sort of this encounter here. Looks exactly the same as it did before, so I'm going to do the same thing, a bit like chess this really, moving my pawns into position, and I'm going to have a go. And I missed the first one like last time as well, it's a bit peculiar, deja vu really. So I'm going to fire a couple of arrows off, but then beyond that there's not a lot I can do. Magic use has got no magic really to do anything in particular with. This is where I start getting a bit annoyed really, because this fighter, the one on the top of the screen, is my better fighter, and he just seems to be sort of pinned all the time, which it seems to be maybe because he's berserking and not getting 0 instead of 1. He's not actually getting any attacks, so I think there's a couple of turns where he just stands there and just takes damage and doesn't do anything. And then to make it even worse, midway through, just starting off this fight, and we end up with a couple more sort of enemies teleport in. So this one's not going too well really. So it's a bit of a pain. Yeah, so this guy up there is pinned, so I'm going to have to get rid of those two. And I think I decide to bring the sort of magic user around, so he's hopefully going to be out of the way of this archer, but obviously the archer can still move, but he's going to come around and try and finish this one off. You see the quality of this is a lot better than it was before when I was doing it. The old series I was using a piece of software called Reflector to sort of copy the screen of the iPad onto my laptop, and it seemed to have, quality wasn't brilliant, and there seemed to be quite a lot of jittering as well, whereas I'm now using the same sort of software but on an iMac, and it seems to sort of pick it up an awful lot better. So hopefully that'll be a lot better for all yourselves out there who are watching this. But here we go. So yeah, I've sort of got a pinned chap who's just taking, well, thankfully they're missing him a lot, but it's a bit frustrating really, especially now, because you think, well, okay, it might be pinned from in front, but he just got to step backwards, and but it's not letting me move him at all really, so a bit frustrating. Yeah, so the archer that's there sort of comes up. I said before, the problem with them is they can sort of attack pretty much anyone, so a bit annoying really. Yeah, so my archer's getting pretty beaten up now, and he's not particularly good at hitting anything with melee, which is a right pain in the neck. It's normally a lot better with the bow, but oh dear me, I do despair sometimes. That's a good thing about this game, is that sometimes it goes swimmingly and you feel really, really good about it, and other times things start to go a bit wrong when you start getting under a lot of pressure. So here I got so desperate to get rid of this chap, I actually started using shadow daggers, which was a big risk because I got rid of him, but I was damaging my own character. So I was taking a bit of a risk here. So yeah, pretty much almost wiped him out as well. That would have been good if I got rid of both of them. But I've ended up weakening my archer chap. So I decided to use all of my magic now, and sort of certainly cashed in pretty much a lot of my magic to get rid of that. So at least the archer should be hopefully not going to peg out any minute. Yeah, so he can't do anything. Very, very frustrating. Not quite sure. There's no one in front of him, no one behind him. Just a chap off to his left, but you know. But thankfully they keep on missing. Yeah, missed again. So it seems to be. Yeah, so my the archer went down, so I used the healing mist. As long as I think you've got one turn to bring them back. As long as you bring them back in one turn, then they don't sort of die. If they do die, you can pick them up from sort of when you go adventuring again. All that happens is he won't gain any experience from this dungeon if he died. And of course you'd have to go around with just 3 members of the party, which obviously makes it a bit more difficult. But thankfully I managed to bring him back. He's only got one hit point, so obviously another sort of arrow could knock him out. And then I'm at the risk of, have I got enough magic to sort of cast another healing as well, because I need 5 power to sort of do a healing, Later on in the game, from memory, you get another spell which only does 1 hit point damage, but it guarantees 1 hit point. 1 hit point healing. It guarantees it, and it only costs, I think it's 2 power. And that's a really good, useful thing. At the end of each turn, you can use up any spare power you've got to do just a small amount of healing. So again, I've only got 1 plus 1, so not going fantastic. But anyway, got rid of him. He finally can attack. So we're starting to make a bit of headway now. Haven't lost anyone. As you can see, 2 of the characters are pretty beaten up. Thankfully got rid of him, so we're down to only 1 enemy left now. But unfortunately, it's a long way away. He gets to attack him, but thankfully he misses, because that fighter's not got much in the way of health left. So finally this character can move. So I've got this hypnosis sort of trance that I can put my ranger in. So he can't do anything for the rest of the turn, but he can get up to 6 hit points back. Right, so it does go in and unusually misses twice, but there we go. Finally finished them off. Couple of small bits and pieces. Now begins the process of healing the 2 that are in there. So +6 was good. And then you got some as well, so that was pretty good. So this was, of course, just the little junction, so we now make our way back to the main route, and then we can go off looking for sort of the main quest. So I decided here to look and see, unfortunately when you turn the screen you can obviously see this in the portrait mode, but it doesn't work on the reflector, but it doesn't matter, you can still see what's going on. I'm looking for sort of all the provisions and sort of healing bits that we've got to try and heal our crew up, really, because you never know. I mean, I had so many of these attacks, you could end up with another attack coming in very soon. Every time you sort of rest for a turn, anything can happen. And the big problem with that is the magic user doesn't regenerate his power if this gets disturbed during that resting period. So we've done a bit of healing and we're going to move on. We've only got 1 of the fighters, it's still pretty poorly. These small provisions don't do much in the way of healing, but they only cost 10 gold, so I normally try and buy a few when I'm at the market. Useful to have in the inventory. When you get later on, of course, then it's just not worth having because they don't do enough healing. And also the inventory starts getting pretty clogged up in later levels. So I decide, because he's in such a bad shape, I'm actually going to start using pretty much all of the getting really terrible +1s and +2s. So healing's not going particularly well, but we have to go all the way back to the junction, so we've got quite a few turns before we sort of will hopefully see any more action. So that's it, this is the second part. I'm going to upload the third part soon, so thanks for watching. Cheers then.